So every time Sam Harris talks about Muslims, he has one agenda. He wants to poison the minds of the moderate Christians and atheists against Muslims. He wants to show the moderate Christians and atheists that Muslims as a group are not like them and are completely fucking alien. That's Sam Harris's agenda, and I'm fucking sticking to it. As an ex-Muslim, that's how I feel. The way Sam Harris does this is twofold. First, he establishes himself as an expert on Islam, and then he says something deceptive or just an outright lie. So here he is being depicted as an expert.
Let's bring in our panel now while we work on that. I want to bring in Sam Harris, the author of Islam and the Future of Tolerance, and also Dean Obeidallah, columnist for The Daily Beast.
I mean, he just wrote a book on Islam, so everything out of his mouth about Islam has to be a fact, right? That's what everybody's going to assume. Here he is debating with Dean Obeidallah, who's a Muslim American, whose father is Palestinian and his mother is Italian.
Sam, do you think that Islam is inconsistent with the U.S. Constitution? As someone who studies this?
Well, it depends what you mean by Islam. Islam is a vast set of commitments and ideas, and you know there are 1.6 billion Muslims on earth who hold to those ideas in varying degrees. Some nominally, and some are right next door to, or even right of Mullah Omar. The crucial case of extremism now is ISIS, or the Islamic State. Now, if you're going to talk about Sharia law, if you're going to talk about the law that mandates the cutting off of hands of thieves or throwing gays from rooftops.
So what Harris just said here is that Sharia law, which is Islamic law, throws gays off buildings. So for any American who doesn't know anything about Islam will go, holy shit, these Muslims are fucking crazy. So what Harris is saying is not a lie. ISIS has done this. They have thrown gays off the rooftops of buildings. And there are reports that in Saudi Arabia, if you're gay, you can be beheaded or stoned to death. But this doesn't happen in any other fucking Muslim country. But Harris doesn't say that. In fact, he'll try to say that this shit is believed by all Muslims. Most Muslims who live in this world don't live under Sharia law. But that's beside the point. Sam Harris will imply that this is a widely held belief of Muslims. I'm not defending Sharia law. As an ex-Muslim, I don't want it anywhere. What I'm objecting to is the way Harris is portraying Muslims. His implication is that this is the crap that Muslims believe because it must be in their Quran. Most people watching this is probably thinking, yeah, it must be in their Quran, otherwise where'd they get it from? Most people would be unable to challenge Harris, but Dean seems to know his Quran, so he challenges Sam.
Is that in the Quran, Sam? Sam, is that in the Quran, throwing gays from the death? Sam, is that in the Quran?
And now that Harris has been challenged, he realizes that Dean knows that it's not in the Quran, whatever this throwing off gays from the rooftop shit. So he moves the ball and outright lies.
It's in the Hadith.
It's not in the Quran.
You know
it's not in the Quran, Sam.
And
not all Muslims follow Hadith. You know that.
So now Harris says that throwing gays off the rooftops is in the Hadith, and Dean knows it. It's in the Hadith, and you know it.
It's in the Hadith.
It's not in the Quran.
You
know it's not in the Quran, Sam. And not all Muslims follow Hadith. You know that.
Hadith is the other religious books that Muslims follow. Muslims don't have to follow the Hadith, but if they want to, they can. But they don't have to if they don't want to. It's not a requirement for being a Muslim to believe or follow whatever is in the Hadith. But what Harris is saying is that throwing gays off rooftops is in the Muslims' other holy book. This is coming from the expert on Islam who just wrote a book on Islam. And it's a complete fucking lie. It's not in the Hadith. But even Dean, a Muslim, doesn't know how to really argue with this claim, as most Muslims, just like most Christians, are not experts on their religions. But Sam Harris, the expert on Islam, just makes up a claim, a completely false claim, and acts like there's a reason for Muslims to believe this shit because it's in one of their fucking holy books. And Dean doesn't really know how to respond. Now let's be clear on one thing. Like all religious books, the Quran and the Hadith are horrible when it comes to gays. Punishments for being gay can range anywhere from turning them away from your home to stoning them and killing them. So I'm not defending Islam. I'm definitely not defending Islam. My point with these videos about Harris is not to defend Islam because I can't defend it in good conscience. I can't defend the Bible in good conscience either, or any other fucking religious book. My point with my Sam Harris videos is to prove that Sam Harris has a political agenda against Muslims. And he'll go to any lengths to poison the minds of Christians against Muslims. And he does this one lie at a time. This is what I really feel about what Sam Harris does. And I feel really sad that so many people that I like really buy into his evil Muslim caricature that he's created. Anyway, thanks for watching. Leave me a comment if you agree or disagree and let me know what you think. Thanks.